Okay, everybody, welcome to our February, formerly January meeting of the Blackstone Franklin Square Neighborhood Association. Before we get started, I just wanted to give one or two announcements and invite anybody else who wants to say anything or announce anything to talk also. As people have probably seen, John Santiago, who's been our state representative for the past 4 years, has received a promotion, and Governor Healy's appointing him effective March 1st to be the first secretarial level head of Veterans Affairs for the Commonwealth. So that's really exciting for John. John's been a great friend to many of us individually, to this organization, and I think this neighborhood, but it's a loss of sorts for us. So we're excited for him. We're a little disappointed to lose him, but that's going to happen on March 1st. I had actually invited him to speak before I knew any of this tonight, but he wasn't able to make it, but maybe we can have him back at some point in the next couple of months after he's settled in, just to say hello again. If anybody's curious in terms of who might be running, I don't think anybody's announced yet. And John said that the date of the special election to replace him hasn't been set yet, but would likely be sometime in the summer. Anybody else want to announce anything or? Okay. So with that, the first item on our agenda tonight is sort of a resumption of a conversation that we started last May with the Blackstone Elementary School, the BPS pre-K through 5th grade school that's on Shammah Avenue here in our district. And we were lucky enough back in May to have Bill Wolff from the Friends of Blackstone School organization speak with us about the school, about students, about the community that they have. And we sort of left it then that we would pick the conversation up after this school year started on the topic sort of what specifically people who are interested in supporting the school and maybe what this organization can do to support the school. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill and also to Shammah Daniels, who's here tonight, who's the principal of Blackstone School. So welcome to you both. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. My first announcement is that Kim Paddock, who's been on your list for a long time, is now on our board. So you'll have some fairly permanent representation with Kim. So thank you, Kim, for joining our board.
Fantastic.
Rather than hear from me, I think it would be best for Shammah, who's been the principal of the school for the last, I think this is your 4th year, Shammah, and has made a huge difference. As a Friends of Blackstone School president, I've been in that role for 10 or so years, but I've been a volunteer at the Blackstone School since 2005. So I've seen lots of changes. And when Shammah came on board, it really was a significant move forward for the school in many ways. So rather than go through all the history, maybe Shammah can give you a quick update as to what's going on with the school right now and some of the great things that have been happening there.
Thank you, Bill. I'll mail you my check. Those wonderful things. Hello, everyone. I am, as stated, the principal of the proud principal of the William Blackstone School. I'm going to be brief because when you talk about what I could say about the Blackstone, I could take your whole meeting, but I won't do that. What I'll say that is special about the Blackstone is many schools and often all schools say that they're a family, which often is only in word and not necessarily in deed. But what you'll find immediately when you walk into the Blackstone is that we are a family and a community. And that is what draws people to teachers to our school. It is what attract families and keep families there. Some of the great things that Blackstone, as Bill noted, when I took the school, probably a lot of people had a deficit model of the Blackstone. And when I was charged to taking the principalship, one of the things I wanted to do is change that narrative, because I saw, just in my short time, I knew that there was so many good things going on in the Blackstone, but it was getting overshadowed by other things that was creating a narrative about Blackstone that really actually isn't true in some aspects, or only focusing on one pocket or one small pocket. You'll hear the Blackstone, and we often have been in the news about our walls. No walls and doors have been our narrative as a school. While that may be the case, that does not impact all of the magic and good things going on in the Blackstone. In fact, when you come into our school, you'll see that having no walls and doors is really not a major issue. Why we want them and desire them and continue to uplift the structural needs of the building, that is not who we are, a school of no walls. That is just not the only thing we are. What goes beyond walls or doors or having doors is that we do a significant amount of learning and teaching going on in our schools. And as Bill said, what we have been able to do is to raise the narrative of our school being one of academic achievement. We have 3 priorities this year. All of our priorities fall under our district strategic plan, and one of those is equitable literacy. And so we have a huge priority and have made significant gains in academic achievement, and specifically like MAP achievement scores for our pre-K through 2. In that equitable literacy thing. We also have our second is a culture of achievement. We are striving in teaching our kids excellence, and that they are scholars of excellence. We do not, we strive every day to respect the intellect of our students and don't look at their deficits, but look at their strengths and how we can use them to build their areas of unfinished learning. Because that's what it is. There's no child that can't learn. It's just unfinished. And we just have to find ways to meet that finished learning, or if there was unfinished teaching, because sometimes it's unfinished teaching. Teachers just haven't quite found that magical bullet. Our last priority is attendance and raising our attendance. And so those have been kind of our focus for the last 3 years, and under my tenure, continuing to build on that sense of community, but also focusing on core instruction. I'm a firm believer you can do 1,000,000 programs, but unless you have a strong core instruction, tier 1, that meets the needs of all students, that is rigorous and grade levels standards, then those programs will fail. And so you will see the Blackstone continuously focusing on building a strong tier 1 core academic program, and it has been that emphasis that has helped raise our academic achievement. We do a lot of marvelous things. There's a lot of unique things to our schools, a lot of things that people don't know. We get a lot of grants, and we get a lot of things that help support doing the whole child, which, for example, we have a robotics club, and we have 2 or 3 staff members. So if you're into science, they meet after school, and they would love to have your support in doing that robotics club. And so that's one way we encourage against excellence in science, or pretty much STEM, the science and technology. We also are getting ready to kick off our Girls Who Run. We may not know that we have a club and participate in Boston's Girls That Run that runs from now until June. And so if you're athletic and like to support our students and building that sense of confidence around running and overall health and awareness, that is another opportunity for you to be involved. Our third thing coming up in the spring is our wellness, and we could definitely use your help with our wellness. With our wellness night, it's usually largely attended by our parents. It's usually outdoors on our playground, and we could definitely use volunteers and any support. We have a community engagement team, and Bill can elaborate further on that, but that team is responsible for planning some of those. And so if you have some desire or want to know in which ways you can support more specifically, I will feel free to reach out to me or Bill, and we can give you the contact to our community engagement team. We have a lot of things going on. We also have a grant, a racial equity grant that we've been awarded for $10,000. In the past year, we've been awarded a grant for our garden. People don't know, may not realize. We have a large garden in the back of our school that helps teach kids about not only about the science with plants and things, but also encouraging health and awareness. Many things. So just lots of things that were going on. Our parent engagement is significantly up. And so we're encouraging the community to match that energy, is our teachers as well, to match that energy. We just had a family movie night, and there was 400 families there that attended. We had a curriculum night in the fall. It was virtual, was usually on a Thursday night. Would normally not turn out too many, but there was 100 families on that curriculum night. So at our parent council, we've now doubled our parents to 40, 50 at those parent meetings. You are encouraged, even though if you're not a parent there, you can still, you just can't vote or for things like that, but I'm sure they'll welcome your attendance and presence. And we also have school site council where we can welcome anyone who would like to learn more about our school. So we have a lot of amazing things going on, and I'm not going to take the whole night because one, I'm on vacation and have to run. I've got going to do some things for some self-care in a minute. And so just wanted to give you all the ways that you can reach out to the school and participate, and encourage you to come and learn, because you're going to, when you see the magic, I think Bill can tell you, and I'm going to let him take over. There's a reason why he's still volunteering and participating in the school since 2005. And he can tell you on a personal level of what Blackstone is that continues to make him want to do that. Because if it was not a place, nobody would stay there that long. And so he can really tell you a little bit more firsthand of all the things that he sees. So I'm going to turn it over to Bill. And I thank you for having me. And of course, reach out to me if there are any other issues or things you want to reach and talk about, or to invite me to future meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Shammah. That was really fantastic. And it was great to meet you. And that, yeah, we'd love to have you back. But go ahead and get your well-deserved self-care. And we'll direct our questions to Bill. Thank you so much.
Just a quick comment. Two things. First of all, this is the first year that Blackstone School has had a 6th grade cohort. So we're now pre-K through 6th grade. The city has decided not to do middle schools anymore. So we got a whole bunch of kids and some new teachers. And for anybody who knows the physical layout of Blackstone, that by itself was a major test of the teachers and everybody else to find a way to make that work. I'm going to put my email address in the chat area. Because if anybody is interested in supporting from a activity standpoint, just let me know. Obviously, fundraising is a completely different issue, but I know many of you are neighborhood folks and would be interested in helping at the school. So that's my email to do that. The other thing I will offer, this really is in support of Shammah more than anything else, but we have done tours in the past, and I would be happy to act as a point person. If you want to tour the school, let me know and I'll coordinate it with the teachers and the staff, because what you see from the inside is so different than what you see from outside the walls. So I encourage that kind of thing. Shammah mentioned the wellness night. That's an annual event. It's been well attended. It's sometime in mid-May. They haven't scheduled the actual date yet. I'm very lucky now that Kim's on board, that she's helping me coordinate that. But again, if you're interested in either just attending as an observer or helping, aiding some of the teachers and some of the activities, you can let me or Kid know, and we'd be happy to have you there. Shammah didn't mention specifically, I don't recall, but there's a field day sometime this spring. It's an outdoor activity. And we always can use physical presence to help the teachers shepherd the kids around. So again, that's another possibility.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm going to, after I said it, I didn't because we're still debating whether they're doing, we haven't had it in a while. And with our wellness night, they're thinking of how we might combine the two, but they're still toying with the idea of how we could do both.
So I'll still keep the toying with the idea alive. It's just part of what I hope we can do tonight is just make sure you're aware of all of the stuff that is going on or may be going on, so that if you have any interest, you can let me know, and we'll try to coordinate it from there. Because of the COVID issue, we haven't had a major fundraising activity now in a few years. We used to have our annual fundraising event at Stella's, and they were gracious enough to give us their space for free, because that's one of the major costs of having an event. What we think we're going to do this year is have a fairly significant welcome back event fundraising effort in the early fall. We're still looking again for a venue. So if any of you have connections to event space where we can have maybe 75 to 100 people with minimal cost. One of the members of our board is a wine distributor, and he has been very gracious in the past when we had our meetings at Stella, where he would provide us the wine. So what we did with Stella is people would buy hard drinks if they wanted at the bar, and the wine was a freebie. So that kind of opportunity also keeps costs down. So those are the kind of things that we're looking forward to. One other thing, maybe you're familiar with something called the MCAS test. These are the tests that kids take to kind of help evaluate how well a school is doing. One of the things that we hope to do this year, the third graders are the first grade they take the MCAS tests. When you think about COVID, this is the first year they've actually been at school since kindergarten. First and second grade, they were out most of the year for COVID. So tests can be a pretty scary thing. So Friends of Blackstone has said, why don't we have a little breakfast support thing for them the day they're going to take their test. So what we're probably going to do is rent a griddle or two and make pancakes and provide fruit and orange juice and all those other kind of things. But there is a possibility there. We'll probably need some help serving. To do all that with just a few board members is probably going to be hard. So if anybody is interested in helping with that MCAS event, it's kind of later this spring. We'll have a firm date for you once I know what it is. But that's another opportunity for any of you to participate. So those are the kind of things we got going on. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions. Like I said before, and Shammah reiterated, I've been there since 2005, so I've seen lots of changes. I'm involved with the school through a literacy program that reads with the kids from first grade through fourth grade. And one of the things that really motivated me was the sad fact, and this isn't just Boston, but in most cities, 2/3 of the kids get to fourth grade without being able to read at the fourth grade level. So literacy has been very important to me in my life, and I think it's very important to these kids. So that's what's got me attached to the school, and I've been there since 2005 doing that. So let me just stop and say, does anybody have any questions?
Can anybody hear me now?
Yes.
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 Oh,
That was.
yay. Okay. I think we asked this question last year because somebody spoke from Blackstone at our last year's meeting. My husband and I just moved here from Connecticut, and we're very interested in participating in any way we can with Blackstone. Last year, there was very little person-to-person participation because of COVID, but we were involved with a literacy program in the Bridgeport school system, which is, I think, the worst ranked.
One of the worst. I grew up in Connecticut. Waterbury at the time was the worst.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Bridgeport is taken over. Anyway, we would love to be involved with any of these programs. So how do we do that? Who do we contact, or who do we connect with?
Okay. I just put in the chat the organization I'm with. I used to be on their board. I'm no longer on their board because I decided I've been there long enough. Is literations.org. It's a literacy organization that I am part of. You can look it up in the internet and see how you can get involved. It brings older adults into the schools to read with the kids.
Are you suggesting that I'm an older adult?
Yes, we all are.
Okay, go ahead.
I could have said senior, but I don't like that term. I just like older
But
adults.
you were being kind.
So we bring older adults into the school twice a week to read one-on-one with kids for half an hour. And it's made a tremendous difference in the self-confidence of the kids. They're moving forward. They feel better about themselves. And as an older adult myself, I've met other older adults that I wouldn't have otherwise met. And it gives some really good purpose, for getting out of the place, your apartment or your home for a couple of days a week, and deal with some great teachers and some good kids. So I encourage anybody who wants to do it to do it.
So we should go through literationadults.org.
Literations.org. No
.org.
adults, just literations. It's in the chat.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bill, I want to note that Paula Weafer, who's here tonight and is going to be presenting a little bit later on from the Cathedral School, where she's a representative. She says in the chat that you're welcome to have your affair at Cathedral High School. So perhaps
Excellent. Thank you very
guys
much.
Want to connect on that.
Oops.
Go ahead.
We can talk more about that too later, Bill. We can regroup maybe this week if you want.
Okay. I'm just scanning this. Do we have your email here?
Yes, here, I'll type it in right now.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll get you in touch with the right people. We have a beautiful room up on our 3rd floor and it holds about 75, 85 people.
Perfect.
So standing or seated, however, like cocktails, or if you needed like a seated meeting.
Yeah, we don't do big dinners. It's just really it's a cocktail party. We usually have a silent auction and a live auction. People donate stuff. We've had very good success in the past.
Oh, sounds great.
What we need is a cheap place to hold it all.
Yeah,
So that'd be fabulous. Thank you.
terrific.
Great. I see someone with their hand up. Go ahead. Can't see who it is.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
might be me.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Hi, Bill. I'm Valeda Britton from BU's medical campus. We
Yep.
used to be involved with Wellness Night. Can you tell me what you're looking for in terms of Wellness Night?
Well, you've been very generous in the past with financial support,
Okay,
and we've had that pretty much every year. So that's number one from a Boston University perspective.
Yep.
In terms of personal involvement or volunteering at the event, we're still developing a specific plan. So if you're interested in possibly just coming to the school that night and helping out, just send me an email with your name, contact information. We'll get back to you once things are a little bit more organized.
perfect. Thank you.
The school has done a great job in developing community partnerships with a number of groups. BU is one. Boston Partners in Education has some volunteers at the school. So they've done a good job of recognizing they can't do it all itself. And that's why I'm so excited about you guys. You're in the neighborhood, and schools that do well are good partners, and schools that are not good are bad partners. So that's why improving the school has made such a difference, I think. And I'm delighted with your support.
Great. Anyone else? Kim or Heather, do you want to say anything before we?
Well, thank you for your attention, and look forward to maybe seeing you at the school or seeing your name on a check that gets sent to the school.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think probably both. And let me just, before we move on, just very briefly summarize. So the points of contact are, one, potentially to reach out to literations.org. Is that correct?
That's a literacy program, right?
Right. And then also there's a community engagement team or group that's part of Blackstone Franklin. It's part of Friends of Blackstone School, correct? And that would be another pathway.
The engagement team is not part of Friends of Blackstone. That's a part of the school, or a number of teachers.
Okay, sorry about that.
But if anybody is interested in that, they can come to me and I'll make sure the right people contact them.
Okay, terrific. And then in terms of representative opportunities to help, there's the robotics club, Girls Who Run, there's the wellness night, which we've talked about, potentially the field day, if that actually happens. And those are just a few of the examples, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you to Shammah also, who I think has had to jump now.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll be seeing you again soon. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks again for the invitation.
Captain Sweeney.
Hey, how's it going? Appreciate you
Hello.
having me on. Matt reaching out today. Just want to know, I know you have a full agenda tonight. I just wanted to touch base. I have Sergeant Hogardt from our community service also on the call. D4 continues to have a strong presence up in both parks. They look great. I'm in and out of there. Try to get up there every day. We'll just go over quick. Since the first of the year, our Part 1 crime, which is all major crimes in the district, we're down 1%. We're only 2 months in. Something that's driving our crime that Sergeant Hogardt for your area a little is just larcenies. People leaving stuff in their cars, like we always say. Don't leave anything in there that could draw attention to someone. We've had several recently, more so in the Back Bay. I think 9 cars broken into with the windows smashed. Doors are locked, but they're leaving something, computers, backpacks, a gym bag that someone may think someone's valuable in. So we always just want to get that word out if we can not leave anything in view in our cars. We've had one burglary commercial recently in your area, which was 1603 Washington Street, the Walgreens, where someone broke the window, entered, and stole some items from there in the early morning hours. That's under investigation with the detectives, and they working some cameras in and around the area. But a good start to the year. Just want to know if anyone has any questions about anything from D4, just ask now, or please let me know. But I'll kick it over to Matt as far as your general area.
Thanks, Captain. Good evening, everybody. And like the captain said, I'll be very brief. He just touched on the Part 1 crimes in your neighborhood. So the first full month that we've had this year, obviously January, in your neighborhood, the numbers look fantastic. When we talk about the Part 1 crimes, you really only had 1 stolen car and 8 larcenies. Of those 8 larcenies, 3 of them were bicycles. Bicycles remain a hot commodity throughout the entire city. Unfortunately, 2 of the bikes that were stolen, they weren't even locked. They were just left outside. So, we try to let everybody know if you have to lock your bicycles. Also, one of them was stolen. One bicycle was stolen from inside a building's garage, and it was locked up in the garage. So just because your bike is inside in a common area or garage, don't think that alone protects it. You should always have it locked up. Out of the 8, so 3 were bikes, 3 more were packages stolen. And again, it's not just in your neighborhood. It's not just in the South End. It's not just in District 4. It's all over the city. Package thefts continue to be a problem. We just try to tell everybody, if you have to have a package delivered to your house, try to be on top of it when it's going to arrive. If you can't be there when it arrives, try to coordinate with a neighbor. I know it's inconvenient, but you can have things delivered to the post office if you get a post office box. If you use Amazon, you do have options. They do have boxes, drop boxes at places all over the place. Particularly what's convenient to your neighborhood is the Whole Foods right down the street on Harrison Ave. They have a counter, so you can even have oversized items delivered there, and you can go there. It has to be obviously hours that the store is open, but you can go pick it up. The good news is it will be there when it gets delivered. So again, didn't want to take up too much time, just kind of talk about some of those quick safety tips. But like the captain said, if anybody has any questions, we're happy to try to answer them.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? I have just one quick question, which is just about an incident that people took notice of the other day when somebody threw a brick through the window of the buttery. Is that something that was just an isolated bit of craziness, or?
Yes, we got some 911 calls off that. I think there was 2 windows damaged, and I believe an arrest was made of a suspect on the street on that with some good info from some 911 callers. So yeah, it seems we're dealing with a lot of emotionally disturbed persons, and it seems like that's what that was.
That was the nature of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you both for coming tonight. Thanks.
One quick question. As a potential dog owner, we live at Penmark, right near Franklin Square. How safe is that for late night dog walking?
Say fine. We have no issues in around that area later at night with people walking their dogs or being about in the parks. You know, obviously, any big city, you just be aware of your surroundings, you know, while you're walking, stay off your phone, keep your head up. But yeah, there's very safe area.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate
We'll
it.
see you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye. Our next agenda item is Francis Oliveira from the Inspectional Services of the City of Boston. Is going to tell us a little bit about what ISD is doing about some things that may be of interest to us here in the South End. So, Francis, go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Good. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, awesome. Good evening, everyone. Francis Oliveira, your community liaison on behalf of the Inspectional Services Department. We do have a few updates we'd like to share with everyone. The Environmental Division, the Inspectional Services Department, they have created an educational video on rodent mitigation. I have shared that with David. I can go ahead and link it on the chat as well. You guys can feel free to watch that. A lot of good information regarding rodent and trash issues, how to resolve, how to keep that from the rodents from coming around. And then let's see, for all residents also who are interested, we've been coordinating walkthroughs alongside the environmental team in neighborhoods where rodent activity is prevalent. So if anyone is interested, we've been working closely with Kim from ONS and our environmental inspectors, and also meeting with residents to address all those issues, the rodent issues. Let's see, also the investigation and enforcement team from the Inspectional Services Department. They deal with issues regarding hoarding, any illegal dwellings or problem properties. They work closely with BPD, Boston Police, also to address these issues, and also for auto shops, any illegal parking with auto shops. We also have ISD's newsletter, which is going out. Let me see, ISD newsletter. Yes, sorry. So for all residents who are interested in joining the distribution list for the ISD newsletter, if you guys are interested, just go ahead and jot down your emails on the chat, and I'll be more than happy to add you to that list. And if you guys have any issues regarding any housing concerns, construction issues or concerns, any restaurant complaints, and rodent issues, feel free to email me. I have put my email on the chat for anyone who has any concerns, any questions, feel free to email me. I'll be happy to help.
I have a question or two, but does anybody else have a question? Comment? Where do you see the rodent issue being greatest in the South End? My sense is it's more like on Tremont Street, and I know that over on Union Park, there's constant discussion about it. Is that?
So we've had walkthroughs alongside, let's see, Appleton, the Ellis Neighborhood Association area, Concord Square, West Newton, and Pembroke. But we do address those issues as they're sent over to us. So 311 is the best way to get the inspectors to address the locations where activity is prevalent. We've coordinated alongside with ONS, with Kim and myself and the environmental team. You guys can email me and we can set those up, but the areas that we have addressed are the ones I've mentioned.
Okay. And did you put your email in the chat? I think
Yes,
you
I
may
did.
have. Okay, terrific.
And I'll link the rodent issue management here.
Okay.
Let's see the link for the video.
The other thing I think you mentioned when you reached out to me was coyote sightings. So I'm curious whether there have been any coyote sightings lately, and if so, what happens with them?
So so let's see, I have a flyer I can share with you. So some neighborhoods have been seeing an increase in coyote sightings. And yeah, I'm gonna share the flyer, which just helps with the sanitary tips to help decrease coyote traffic. So I'll share that with you. I don't think I can add that on the chat, so I will email
Okay.
it to you, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, perfect, thanks.
Awesome.
I'll
Thank
share
you.
it once you do. Any other questions for Francis? Great. I don't think I see any. So thank you so much, Francis, for that
No, thank you for having me.
presentation. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Talk soon. Next is our old longtime friend, Jeremy Kazanjian-Amory, who's with, with many organizations of interest to us over the years, and now with the Soccer Unity Project. So he's going to pick up a conversation we started last spring about a project and an initiative that's important to a number of us personally and also to our organization. We've tried to support it.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? I'll ask the private question. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, as was mentioned, I have been a long time friend and connector of Blackstone Franklin Square, both when I was at St. Stephen's Youth Programs for many years and worked with the scholarship committee on a lot of the young people here. And most recently with the city when I was with the Department of Youth Engagement and Employment. And this past November, formally joined Soccer Unity Project, which is the new parent organization of South End Soccer and Boston Unity Cup. So I'm just going to share a couple slides real quick that'll help keep me on track and not talking all night, which is always good for all of us, and talk a little bit about just ways that we are growing in the city and ways that you can engage and support. Are you all able to see this? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, yes.
So the kind of focus of what I'm going to talk about right now is really grounded in three key things. Soccer Unity Project was built upon the ideas of creating intersection, of helping to bring communities together and create and build community across difference in that way, to increase access to the sport of soccer, which is an extremely prohibitive and exclusionary sport in this country. We've made it that way. And finally, to elevate the level of play in the city, something that is not currently exists within kind of city limits. So intersection, access, and elevate are the kind of three main themes of what we do, why we do what we do. So as I mentioned, the current state of play is one that is very exclusionary. Soccer is actually the most expensive of the four major sports in the United States. Maybe hard to believe, but amongst baseball, basketball, football, and soccer has the highest household cost. It's the most expensive, and for families earning $50,000 or less, the top reason why kids don't play is cost. Cost for equipment, cost to be part of leagues, cost for transportation. All of these things remain true. Similarly, nationally, girls have 1.3 million fewer opportunities to play high school sports, and access to sports at all levels continues to be something that we want to prioritize Soccer Unity Project. There's a couple other stats here, but BPS sports participation is 35%. And if you take out BLS, BLA, and O'Brien, it's in the mid-20s. So that is, again, it's something that is remnant of COVID, but it's also something that speaks to the fact that when young people stop playing at any given age point because they don't have access to programming, they often don't come back to that sport. So who are we? Soccer Unity Project is kind of reimagining the power of soccer to build community, connect people from diverse backgrounds, and promote equity in youth play. You can see our values here of access, community, cultural appreciation, and play. I'm happy to share these slides too, so just in the end, so that way you don't have to worry about the little details. But as I mentioned, Soccer Unity Project came out of 3 years of strategic planning and the combination of youth programming and community programming that were known as South End Soccer and Boston Unity Cup. So I'll talk about how both still exist now under this new umbrella, but a lot of you are very familiar with South End Soccer, which started as a free, inclusive neighborhood youth soccer program. It currently, over the past 14 years, It served over 9,000 young people and volunteers, and really just through engaging 6 different neighborhoods across Boston. So not just South End. We have young people that come from all over the city based on the fact they don't have access to programming in their own communities, which I'll speak a little bit about. So that's one area. And the other area is the Boston Unity Cup, which established in 2018, which is an adult soccer tournament that brings together communities representing their own nationalities. So last year we had 20 different countries represented. We have both a men's and a women's division. And last year alone, we had over 500 players. This year, we're looking to increase that number, but it's an incredible adult soccer tournament that brings together the immigrant populations of the greater Boston area. And so these 2 organizations came together to form one, in addition to some other elements. So how are we kind of changing the game? What are we doing that's unique? We provide free and accessible programming at all levels. So whether that's the developmental, whether that's more competitive travel, or whether that's a new premier level programming that we're building for this city, it's all going to be completely free, no matter what your household income is. We believe it's important to create these safe spaces that intersect income, race, ethnicity, and gender, ensuring that young people are able to build relationship across difference. And we believe that is going to have a lasting impact on the communities around the city. We're promoting representation and cultural appreciation through the Unity Cup, continuing to unite community and building trust. We believe that it's really important to bring people together into safe spaces, and that in turn helps to build empathy, trust, compassion. And we're also looking to elevate urban play, which we know is a priority for this city as well. So we do this through 3 elements. We do this through youth soccer, we do this through community programming, and we also are looking to continue to engage the business community in social change. So for youth programming, we're still doing Neighborhood Recreational League, South End Soccer. We're also looking to engage with other communities in the city that currently don't have neighborhood programming to ensure that young people are able to play soccer if they want to in their own communities. We have youth and high school travel teams that allow for young people starting in grade 3 to take the next step and play more competitive soccer. This spring, we're really excited to announce the launch of a new premier level team that, for those that know soccer, that's similar to like a club team. We're doing it for high school girls first this spring, because that's one of the biggest age groups that lacks opportunities. We're going to continue to build that out for girls by ages, going back to 3rd grade, to ensure that young people who want to take that next step into that level of play have the ability to at that level of development. We continue to do citywide skill building clinics, which includes last year we launched the high school preseason. So we help to do the preseason for all high school soccer players. We have a scholarship program. And then this spring, we're also really excited to bring back adaptive soccer. We're partnering with Special Olympics and Top Soccer to ensure that young people with physical and cognitive disabilities have access to soccer as well, which is something that just doesn't exist right now in this city formally. The other thing we launched this winter and will continue into the spring is Pee Wee soccer. So we start now with ages 3 and 4. And we actually just partnered with United South End Settlements to ensure that they were able to bring over some of their 3 and 4-year-olds on Wednesday mornings to do that. And we look to continue to build out that program, as we know there's a lot of young families in the South End and across the city that may not have access to that programming, or are waiting on wait lists or paying a lot of money out of pocket for it. So again, all of these programs are completely free. In terms of community programming, not only do we have the Boston Unity Cup, but we partner with colleges to ensure that collegiate soccer teams can run clinics for young people. We host watch parties where kids can go watch the college teams and meet the players. We're looking to further engage our alumni and young professionals through different opportunities, including internships and jobs. We have a coach training model that helps to ensure that young people and alums from our program who want to get certified as coaches or referees are able to do so, but we pay for that development. And then we also host the annual Youth Soccer Summit, which happened a couple weeks ago, which brings together organizations, colleges, and different programs that are doing youth development through soccer across the city and the state, because we also think it's really important to ensure that we're not trying to reinvent the wheel every time, and working in great partnership with organizations like Boston Scores, Soccer Without Borders, Boston Dream, and a lot of other organizations that we partner with to ensure greater impact. Finally, one of the things we're also launching this spring is a corporate team building model called Beyond Goals, which is a training designed to build connection, increase collaboration through like soccer inspired activities, very low level soccer. You don't have to be a professional soccer player to engage in these activities, but it's a way of engaging with the corporate world, where if they're going to spend money on team building, ensuring that that money goes back to funding youth programs. And then we also do 3 events. Blackstone Franklin Square was extremely generous in sponsoring the Swings for Unity golf tournament last year. We're going to do that again this fall. We're also launching a new event this spring called called Unity Ball, which is going to be a celebration of the cultures that exist in the city, specifically highlighting the music and food from our 2 Unity Cup champions last year, which for the men's was Cape Verde, and for the women's was Honduras. So highlighting and celebrating those communities in this event. And then of course, the Boston Unity Cup. So we have lots of opportunities to volunteer through coaching, event support, days of service and such. And I'll drop my email in the chat. Oftentimes it's easier to have a conversation with individuals and figure out where you best might fit in, where a corporate team might fit in and such. But the other reason I'm here is because over the next 3 years, we're really looking to grow the impact that we have, and that's going to require a high level of support. So by 2025, we want to grow from 1,200 to 1,800 and from 6 neighborhoods served to 10. We want the Unity Cup to serve 1,000 players with 40 different nationalities represented. And we want to build out 5 elite level premier teams with 18 certified coaches, again, prioritizing certified coaches for young women and young men of color, young women and men of color who often haven't had access to that level of training and coaching within the sport. But that means that over the next 3 years, we plan on growing quite a bit. This year, our budget's scaling from $450,000 last year to over $1 million. That's because in order to do all this programming for free, in order to compete with the clubs and things like that benefit off the pay-for-play model, we have to pay coaches and everyone at the same rates, which means we have to raise that much more money. In order to do adaptive soccer the way that it should be done and the way that young people deserve, we have to raise that much more money for equipment and all that type of support that goes into it. Same with certified coaching and staff that have helped to build the capacity that we do. So we're really shifting from a historically in-kind model to one where we have to raise the money to ensure that we are compensating staff, coaches, and such who deserve to be compensated, and helps to build equity within those opportunities. So one of the ways that we're doing this is through a wide range of different sponsorships. So if you work for an organization or a company, or you're connected to one, or know someone who might be a good champion of this, who might be interested in sponsoring our programming, we have opportunities to sponsor recreational programming, travel and premier programming, female empowerment, adaptive, and such. But we also have a lot of event sponsorships. And so really excited to just connect with the neighborhood and see what opportunities might come out of that. And I think that's the last thing I'll say is that just like, I really appreciate always the opportunity that Blackstone Franklin Square provides to come and share this type of work. I'm really humbled and excited to now be in this new role as the Director of Development for Soccer Unity Project, and now about 4 months in. And as I mentioned, we're looking to raise over 1.1 million. So we have a lot of work to do, but we're hoping that some people on this call might resonate with and be interested to connect us to potential corporate business sponsors, host an event and invite friends who might want to learn more about this opportunity, and help us identify other champions of our work in this city. So again, huge thank you to everyone here, and just appreciate the time to share a little bit about what we're doing and how we're scaling this work.
Thanks, Jeremy. Anyone have any questions for Jeremy about what they're doing? Jeremy, when is the golf tournament?
September 15th.
September 15th. Okay.
Yeah.
And can you just say a few more words about sort of the levels of support that people or organizations or companies can give at? And I know obviously you're grateful for whatever people may donate, and happily, I assume we'll accept it. But I mean, just sort of,
Yeah.
we're talking a few $100s and up, or what is the cut, just so that people.
Yeah, that's a great question. For the event sponsorship, it can range. For our events, like the highest level of like kind of naming rights and presenting sponsors can be $25,000 to $50,000 for some of the events, scaled all the way down to $500 to $1,000 for different levels of sponsorship. That specifically with events is kind of the scale. And again, we also do like, you could be a sponsor for all 3 events and kind of like bundle some stuff together. We also have different levels that range that start at 2,500 and scale up again to 50,000 or so for program sponsorship, because we have recreational programs that you can sponsor and have opportunities to put names on some of our banners or jerseys and such. But just to give context, the approximate cost of one premier level team, so this high school girls team, is over $50,000, given equipment, travel costs, coaching, all that. And that's why clubs charge $2,500 to $5,000 a person to play. And that's why it's become this pay for play prohibitive model. And so in order to compete and ensure that our young people have the same level coaches, the same level equipment, all that type of stuff, we just need to raise all that money. And so that's another area why we're looking for some higher level sponsors to come in. And we've had great partners in the past and looking to form some new partnerships.
Great. Yeah, that's really helpful context. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone else before we let Jeremy go? Okay, Jeremy, thank you for coming. And I'm
Thank
sure
you so
we'll
much.
be talking again soon.
Don't forget
Thanks.
to leave your email.
I won't. Thank you.
Great. So our final guest tonight is Paula Prifti Weafer, who is the Director of Major Gifts and Strategic Initiatives at Cathedral High School, which is the only high school here in the South End on Washington Street, and also a really important school for a lot of students and families. And so Paula's going to tell us a little bit about the school. And before she goes, I'll just make one other piece of context, which is that over the last number of years, and I think especially the last few years, we've been honored to award scholarships, Blackstone Franklin Square Neighborhood Association scholarships to some of your graduating seniors to support their endeavors in higher education. So that's been great. So Paula, go ahead.
And thank you so much for that. We're so grateful. And on behalf of Dan Carmody, our president, he sends his regards. He's actually away with his family this week for vacation. So I'm so delighted to meet you all. Again, I'm Paula Prifti Weafer. Thanks for pronouncing my maiden name correctly.
Thank you.
That's an Albanian name. Everybody knows that name. I joined Cathedral High School about a year ago from Babson College. I was there for 12 years, and I've been working in advancement and fundraising for 30 years now. And for some reason, this school was calling my name. I was just so drawn to the mission and just the marvelous work that we're doing with our students here in the South End. And as you may or may not know, we are celebrating our 100th anniversary in 3 years. We were founded in 1926, and we serve about 360 students, grades 7 through 12. And they're really amazing young people coming from, our neighborhoods in the South End and different parts of Boston. They come from families that they might come via public transportation, or they might be dropped off every day. We provide, obviously full lunches and breakfasts for them whenever they need that. But our kids are 100% college bound. We graduate roughly about 75 seniors, and I'm proud to say that, they're applying at amazing schools, mostly in and around Boston, although some, do tend to go to schools in Georgia, South Carolina. We have someone at the University of Michigan, University of Arizona, and they're just curious, amazing learners. And the first thing I will say is that we really do want to get to know our neighbors so much here in the South End. We do a fair amount of work with you all in the South End, but we want to get to know all of you, hence, utilizing our spaces. maybe mentoring students, maybe providing internship for students. We want our students to be able to participate in volunteer opportunities. And, as the Blackstone School, is looking to host a party, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you utilize our spaces. We did host the South End Business Alliance back in the fall, just to bridge further introductions to the neighborhood. I think people know that Cathedral High School is there, but we want to partner more. And as you know, we're right next to the beautiful Cathedral of the Holy Cross. Our kids go to Mass about twice a month. We are a Catholic high school, although not all students identify as Catholic. Probably 50% of our students identify as Catholic. We're not trying to, convert them or anything like that. We just want them to understand some faith. And, we have religion teachers and religion classes. We're really trying to get our students ready, leadership ready, life ready, college ready. Those are our three sort of modules for our young people. And, in terms of volunteer opportunities, we welcome, we're trying to relaunch a financial literacy program to educate young people from grades 7 to 12. So teaching them finances at the 7th grade level and also at the 11th and the 12th grade levels as well. We have one program called the Benjamin Project, where we have a volunteer that comes in twice during the school year, and she works with students to really prepare them, not just for financial and, understanding, business, but really understanding themselves and just talking about real world situations. And during the program, she gives each student $100. And she says to them, do what you need to do with that $100, whether you spend it, whether you save it, whether you give it away. So that's just a very neat thing. She comes once a week, and she just the kids love being with her and vice versa. It's such a great relationship. So we're very open to, ways that you can help partner with our students. We're also super proud to let you know that we launched a very unprecedented historical campaign back in the fall. It's called the Cathedral Now, Cathedral Forever campaign. And it's a $60 million campaign. Essentially, I was brought on to run this enormous campaign. I do have a lot of sleepless nights, but we have a tremendous volunteer board. We have a silent donor. He's an alumnus. He's just such a marvelous friend to our school. He's made a $30 million silent gift. It's a matching gift. So we just launched back in October, and I'm very, very proud to tell you that we reached 62% giving, 62% of our goal of $60 million. The reason we really are striving for this is we just want to make sure that Cathedral High School will always be with us forever. We don't want the school to close ever. So we have some amazing corporate donors. Of course, we're always looking to reach out and apply for other maybe foundation and corporation support. Obviously, alumni. We have, like I said, a lot of volunteer corporate donors. To me, it's been unprecedented seeing the love for this school. And so we would love to invite you to our golf tournament as well. It's on June 12th in Peabody. And also on March 21st, I'd be delighted to invite you to a breakfast that we're hosting. And it's called Conversations with the President. And this is an opportunity to be together with other donors, some of our alums. If you're interested just to learn more, we'd love to have you. And we're going to do more of those as well. We had one last week. We had a smaller one last week for lunch. We'll do breakfast, and we'll even do like a late afternoon appetizer. We just want to get people through our doors to really, really understand and see, how superb our school is, as well as our students.
Great. And I think I can say I would definitely be interested in some of those things. The breakfast, the conversation with presidents with the president is in June, you said, or when is that?
So we have a March 21st.
March 21st. Okay.
Yep, and then we'll do one in April. We haven't set date yet in
Okay.
May. We also do want to partner more and more with our South End friends and neighbors. We did do an event at Beacon Gallery back in November. It was a sort of a combination art and wine. It was really for the neighbors, and we had about 40 people come. And Christine O'Donnell is the owner of Beacon Gallery, and we just had a wonderful night. And our students that are passionate about the arts talked about their own artwork and their journeys. And so we had a professional artist sort of help sort of critique their work. It was so refreshing to sort of be there and watch this whole thing occur. And yeah, we really do want to reach out to our neighbors, reach out and touch you all as much as possible. And, you know, please come see us. I'm trying to think about what other events that you might like to, and it's funny, like we really haven't done these kinds of events at the school. So we're trying to really outreach not only to our friends and neighbors and to our alums. Our alums have been a little bit more challenging with our alums because we really haven't done a tremendous amount of work. I did do a Florida trip a couple of weeks ago, you know, because everybody's in Florida. You know, our audience, our alumni audience from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, you know, they're down there, and we just want to reach out and let them know we're here. We want to talk about your alma mater, Cathedral High School.
Great. What is it? Heather put into the chat that South End basketball in the Cathedral gym has been wonderful for local kids. And she says that the Cathedral High School students that help coach are fantastic.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you know, we have that gym is beautiful. And we've talked about maybe doing like a corporate basketball challenge, getting our own students to be the referees and getting companies together to sort of compete. Like that's something on the docket. And we have other companies that will come in and volunteer. You know, we have Deloitte that comes in yearly. Fidelity, we have a huge volunteer program with them. But we are going to be reinstituting our internship programs. So maybe somehow through the organization, I can reach out to you all. You know, if there's something that you think you might want to offer to our students to, you know, inspire them, to educate them, you know, about whether it's finance, business, entrepreneurship, the arts. You know, we're really open. We have a marvelous guidance staff as well that we could partner together on.
That would be great. And what's the point of contact for people who have questions or ideas about any of this, or is that
You can actually send them to me, and I will make sure, you know, to bring them to the right person. I can send I think my email is up here somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. If you could just put it in the chat again, and then one of us on the board, me or somebody else, will follow up with you on the on one of the breakfasts that you mentioned.
That's true.
Maybe the other things. And one other thing, and it was so generous of you to offer your that space you have to the Friends of Blackstone School. And that brings up a point. I'm curious. So that's a space that's available potentially for various community uses. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, if we can, as long as we can accommodate. It's on the third floor of our it's renovated about 4 years ago in the old convent. So it's our ALC, our Applied Learning Center. And that space is used for a variety of, we had our President's Fund cocktail reception there in September. We made it look beautiful. We've done lots of breakfast. I had the South End Business Alliance there. It's also sometimes used as a classroom space as well. But I'm sure we can work with you, you know, extremely nominal pricing for sure. If anything, you know, we just have to decide dates and times and availability. And I think the whole liquor licensing is really, I don't think that's really that big of a deal. Depends on numbers though, of course.
Okay. That's good to know about, because I think there's a real dearth of nice spaces that community groups can use in this part of the South End.
Yeah. And we have parking, you know, after hours as well, which makes it really convenient.
Oh, yes. Great. Okay. Anybody have any other questions or comments for
Thank
Paula?
you so much for having me. I'm really grateful.
Well, thank you for coming, and we'll definitely follow up. Before we adjourn, I just wanted to acknowledge that Nick from John Santiago's office is here, or at least he has been here. He's still on the screen. So Nick, I don't know if you want to.
Sure, David. I'll just say a quick hello and I guess a little bit of a goodbye. We're still in the office until March 1st. If anything comes up before then, feel free to email me or Rep Santiago. It's been great being a part of the neighborhood association, and we'll be sure to be in touch.
Great. And are you going with John over to Veterans?
Unsure.
Okay.
I'll update you when we know about those things.
Okay. Terrific. Well, thank you for coming. And then finally, I just wanted to say Kim, who is our excellent liaison from the Office of Neighborhood Services, has been here patiently tonight. And Kim, if you're still on, if you just want to say hello, and if you want to say anything before we adjourn, you're welcome to do that.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Kim from there's Office of Neighborhood Services. Put my info in the chat if you have anything you want to talk about or any concerns. But as far as updates, it's actually been pretty quiet, surprisingly. So don't have anything right now. But if I do think of anything or anything comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay. And we'll be back again at it next month for our regularly scheduled March meeting on the third Tuesday of March. So you can come back then. Good. All right. Anybody else want to say anything or bring anything up before we adjourn for the good of the cause?
I just want to see
Anna.
if I could ask one question. Sorry.
Sure.
Last year's meeting had a presentation by, I'm not sure who the organization was, but it related to a development of the, is it Southampton Street? That was going to include, I don't know, biotech offices, et cetera. Does anybody know where I could get information on an update as to where that stands?
So the simplest thing, if you were to email us at BFSNA at blackstonefranklin.org, that way I'll have your email. I can give you a longer answer. The short answer, you're right. So at the moment, the developer's name is escaping me, but yeah, what he was describing was he now owns or has an option to purchase the property there at the corner of Southampton and Bradston Street, which is right by the Melnia Cass, Mass Ave intersection there. He has an option to buy, or he owns that church property. It's currently a church and then a couple of other buildings. And so he described to us that he has a proposal that's gone before the BRA, and I think it's been approved, that would redevelop it as a life sciences property is how he's envisioning it. You're right. So that was, and so we have not heard anything more about that. At the same time, these things oftentimes unfold over many, many months, if not a year or two or three. But I can give you a fuller answer if you email us. But that, to my knowledge, that's where it stands. I'm not aware that it's either advanced nor has it.
David, this is Jennifer Copeland. I've been silent for the duration of the meeting. I wanted to thank you. I've been part of this neighborhood for 25 years now, and it was really terrific, informative, wonderfully sharing meeting, and thank you all. I'm a member, I'm on the board of United South End Settlements. It was good to hear that USCS is getting support from the that soccer organization. So yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for all you've done for this organization. Great. Okay. Anyone else before we say goodnight? Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. And please come and join us again third Tuesday in March next month. See ya.
Night all.
Bye. Bye.